just.
I'm going to call the meeting to order. We'll begin with introduction, starting with you, Bill.
Bill Scriver.
Fran Emmerich.
Terry Hamel.
John Carroll Smith.
Jerry Brown.
Mike Shannon.
And
Ken Stevens.
And Amy Tressetter. The first thing on the agenda is the motion 0806-1801 to approve the minutes of 7/09/2018. It's Exhibit A. Does anyone have any comments, any amendments? And may I have a motion?
So moved. I'll second.
Are we all set?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is the administrative operational report, which is Exhibit B.
Yep. Okay, I just go over these. It's not, I won't try to belabor all these. Number one, we submitted a 2018 bill grant, as we had discussed several times, on a redesign of the east dock to increase our grain storage and efficiency. We won't know for fall. The bottom line is that very competitive, and usually it's one or two tries before we get these. So if we don't get it this year, I know we'll be very strong position next year. The windmill project glue, I've had further discussion with another finalist. All the finalists want to use the Port of Oswego as their jump off point for this. We have discussed a few options. I've discussed it with them. The parent company, which is actually going to be the company that will be running this, has reached out to me, and we exchanged emails. They want to have, at some point in time, an assurance from us, in writing, contractual, like legal, that we will be available for their project, which will start in 2020. So I'll basically talk to you about maybe putting together a little, agreement that puts their minds at rest, and also something I can plan with for 2 years down the road as we look at it. Emergency repair, the repair of the port is done in power, 3-phase. As I said before, it wasn't as extensive. Well, it was extensive, but we didn't have to dig up the whole east dock. We're able to actually gain access to the cable and pull the cable, which now we have new cable to port, everything is running right, and we have less damage to our dock than what we would have had if we had a full dig and reconstruct. It still is a hefty bill, which you'll see. You can probably notice it, but it was to keep us operating, and there's no explanation other than over the years it just through normal course water into it created a short. We had our first of 2 grain ships for the month of August. I worked Saturday and Sunday. We went over 11,225 metric ton in this load. Purdue is very happy. We have a few kinks to work out in the system. Fortunately, they're not on our side, the kinks. I got a shout out. Rich Converse is our mechanic. He came up with a very good, ingenious way to increase several ton all our loaders. Our Doosan, as some of you may recall, the bucket was designed for grain, and it has a different configuration than a normal bucket. Well, Richie had the idea of making convert actual bolt-on metal configuration to make the buckets to the cat and any other loader we have mimic the Doosan. It worked beautifully. We had I had to get Sharkey, our welding contractor, prefabber in. They prefabbed. We already had metal on site. Prefabbed it. We have it so it bolts on and bolts off. So that was very, very. We had less spillage, and we were able to increase an 8-ton to 11-ton bucket on average. So that helped a lot. As far as scales went, we had some issues with scales, but we know what they were. We've contacted the company. But good news is, we got in another 11 to 12 days, we have our next ship coming in. And they're already planning for the season, which will be another 2 ships and, well, actually 3 ships. So we're going to hit 60,000 plus this year in exports. And again, I'll reiterate, Purdue is happy. And they're planning already for ships for next year, next spring. We'll cover that in Executive Committee ILA on a request for contract negotiations. I'll just highlight the American Great Lakes Association summer meeting I attended. It was a great meeting. The business session was very, very, very good. Well, more importantly is I already made a contact with the line of Sleetoff, which is the container company that goes back and forth. I gained some valuable knowledge. They actually are a bulk carrier too. I'm now talking with Purdue and Sleetoff on the possibility for them going directly to Europe with grain on here, which makes it, they would carry their containers on top, put grain in the hole. So Purdue is exploring that. So that gives them now a different market. It brings them right into Europe where they'd like to sell. And if you watch the news, the EU, according to the president, is supposed to buy lots of soybeans from us. So this now opens up another market, and opens up another market in the sense we may even get more. We may even get more soybeans because we can turn them over faster. So that was, I thought, a good, positive step forward.
I think those ships go right to Antwerp.
Yep. Yep, and that's where their grain facility market. So that's, I mean, it's a perfect fit. So, I mean, it doesn't happen this year because ship schedules are a year out, usually.
Spielhoff comes from it, they originally
Yep.
in Amsterdam.
Yep. So now they are talking, and we're hopefully gonna have their ship come in occasionally in a route, which means we can, during the season especially, carry at least 9,000 metric ton on the salty out, which will give us more input, so they'll buy more, we can fill more, and because, again, we need more storage facilities. We don't really have what we want to have yet, but at least they'll create a turnover. You know, the whole thing, you know, you try to, at a restaurant, you'll pay your bill, leave, go to the table for the next one. Well, we kind of want to come in, dump your grain, let's get a ship in, turn it over one more time. So I was happy about that. Just to let you know, I'm trying, we had customer service training last month. It was done by our HR consultant checks. It was free of charge. And the whole direction for what the customer service training is that our customers are our customers. I mean, every truck, every person we talk to has to have a positive image of the port. And I'm trying to get that integrated into the whole mentality and our mission here is, and that customer service training was a way of giving a real good overview of how to deal with customers. You know, unless you have dealt with them all your life, at a port it's usually not customer orientated, so you're trained that. I mean, you go to like a high-end shop somewhere, or your waitress, you know, they have a different attitude. Well, here I'm trying to get the attitude to a customer service attitude. So, not that we're doing bad, we're not. However, it's always better to see some reinforcement and some new ideas and new approaches, how we can treat people in a very positive way that comes to our gate. And I thought it was successful. Unfortunately, I didn't go through it. I was a little busy, and I wished I had, but we may hold it again. Okay, so it's not there. Also, we also had, though it's not in our required facility security plan, which is federally regulated by the Coast Guard, we had active shooter training here last month. And the reason for that is, as you all know, what's happening out in the world, and we really don't have any active, it's not required in our state safety plan. The feds don't require our state or our federal security plan. So I think it was very positive. The Army National Guard came in. They gave a 1-hour presentation. They went over, got everybody thinking what would happen if this happened. And it was, I think, excellent because it just gives us an idea how to prepare for it. You know, I don't think anybody wants to see it happen. I mean, whoever thought that the plane could fly into the World Trade Center? But now this is one of those facts of life we're living with, schools especially. We are a public facility in the sense that we receive a lot of people coming through our gate, even though they're security checked. You know, you don't check every car, you know, we're not like an airport. And we have, you know, open on Thursday, we have TSA in here. We have dozens and sometimes 50 or 60 people at a day will come in for credentialing. We don't know every time what's on that person's mind, so this is a good way for us to prepare for it. Next, I don't have to say anything more. Our RFQ insurance review is reviewed, and I don't want to announce it right now because I haven't told all the other companies they didn't make it.
Okay.
But I thought we had a very good collaborative effort. What the process was is we had sent it out to our state contract system, published it. We had 7 respondents. We graded them on a scale, which is very similar to the scale we do other things on, a point system. I and Debbie, who previously used to do insurance as our finance manager, reviewed them. We graded them separately. There was no cheating on each other's tests. And then we added the scores together, we ranked it, and we asked the 4 finalists to come before the governance committee, Mr. Chairman, to actually, we had 1 in-person interview and 3 conferences on phone, reviewed everything, board members asked questions, and I'm glad they all agreed with who I wanted to move it to. That was unanimous. Everybody thought the same, and we picked a new one. But I would like to say, but I haven't had an opportunity with the ship being in, because it happened on Friday. It happened on Friday afternoon. I haven't had an opportunity to email everybody with all the ships, including this one in, to tell the non-winners of what we're going to do. So I'll make that as an email. Well, you all got the email, I think. So you know, but I just don't want to be callous to those who didn't until I get an opportunity to personally give them all the email and tell them.
Who provided the customer service training?
This is our paychecks provider.
Oh, okay.
So we also have certain elements that service as HR in it. So it keeps us up to date, and they provided that training.
Do they provide us information regarding any current or brand new human resource
Yes.
issues they do?
They developed a package for us to make us totally compliant with the law for new insurees, everything in New York. In fact, we have moved over our insurance, which is free. They provide it as a part of their package service to us. Our insurance, we have like an insurance broker for health. They have an extensive network, larger than the one we had previously. And what they're doing is they're basically have a web portal, and they will be actually analyzing, not individually, we don't care what you're taking when you're taking it, but they'll analyze all of our costs of the various areas that we're utilizing employees are in our insurances. And then they will come out 180 and 90 days when we go for our insurance renewals for our health insurance, and they will be able to tailor actual proposals to us that fit our actual usage of insurances. And they can do that analytically and give us reports.
So they keep us on the straight and narrow with
Yes.
pretty much everything
Yep.
we need?
Yep,
Okay.
yep, which is very valuable.
Does anybody else have questions for Bill? Okay. Next up is motion 0806-1802 to accept the primary financial reports, Exhibit C1.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any questions? Everybody take your time to look it over.
I have a question on the, the fixed assets on the port balance sheet, CNY Inland Port, how long is that gonna continue to be on?
To our next accounting season. What that is we're gonna carry that, because as you know, we still have that appropriation for inland port monies that's sitting there at the state level. We're going to be discussing that probably within by next week with the state. It was our auditor's suggestion, saying that we did not recoup the entire amount that we had expended, and the possibility that we would be receiving additional, that was kept on the books.
When will that occur? When will that take place? So,
It
you know,
will,
there's probably quite a lot of money involved there.
there will, with next accounting, if we do not realize it, it will go off our books next year, at the next audit.
And so our next move is
We're now talking, at this point in time, I'll be reaching out to legal firms that can assist us in making an amendment to our DOT contract with the state.
so that would be the thing that
Yes.
Bill, or Will Scriber turned down.
Will Barkley, right.
Or-
Well, that was, no, Will Barkley.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, someone,
I'm looking right at him.
yeah. I'm not the assemblyman, I'm not involved in politics in any part of the way, okay? Will Barkley's legislation and Senator Ritchie were to allow the Port of Oswego access to appropriations for the high water event of last year, as most other municipalities are allowed. We do not have that exact same ability to go to those funds. So his legislation was allow us to go to those funds that were already sitting there. What this is that Mr. Enright and I will be interviewing people that can assist us with an amendment to the appropriation that we received, I don't know, was it 2014
It was about 14,
and 2014?
maybe 15, could have been 15.
Passed by the Senate too.
This was the actual, yeah, it was the budget. It was the governor's budget.
When you say.
They passed the budget,
Okay.
yeah.
Just wanted to make sure.
And this is the same, this was the PFRAP money, Passion Rate and Fail Improvement money. And it was designated for and appropriated for, and we've had a contract and an amendment to the contract. So what we would be doing is going to DOT in the second floor and requesting an amendment, another amendment to that existing fund that's there. Because as you realize, they now are going to be giving $19 million to CSX, so there's remaining funds. What we want to do is get a second amendment for some items that were let's say reimbursed first time around.
Isn't that the idea now, is championing that to conservatives that they may want to take over the land board?
Also, what kind of legislature wants to take it over?
Fine, all that.
I mean, August County legislature. So, yeah. But to us, it's just a simple amendment to an existing appropriation and contract we already have signed.
Who's that?
It's somebody who had her offhand.
Cat County still.
No, she's gone. She's the governor's second floor
Oh,
as
that's right.
the operations manager for the state. Yeah.
Regarding one other entry on the balance sheet is the marina equipment.
Yes.
We did some work, we did some additions, but the amount we're looking at is basically the same for 2017 and 2018.
What that fund is that when the port was originally built in 1961, there was a state debt. A state debt, we have a debt to the state for the building of the port. There's certain funds the state allowed us to, okay, let me go back. When we reach a certain certain level of revenue, it goes to the state controller. And if we, let's say, there's a certain, I wish Deb was here, but I think it's like 100 million. If we go over that, they will sweep it, like every other state agency, into their general fund. So when the port was established, we were allowed 5 capital project or areas we could put money in that did not count to be swept. The marina was one of them. We have 5 of them. So when money goes in, at some point in time, a board put money into that. We have money in other pots at this point in time. We usually leave that in, and at budget time, if I'm still here, what I'm gonna suggest is we actually come up with capital projects, like building domes, and make set-asides. This year, it looks like we should be fairly good at being able to put some money aside. And then that would be your determination, the board's determination, of what we wanna put in different pots of money. Because we don't wanna hold, I hate to say this in public, we don't wanna hold a lot of money that the state just takes away when we have needs here.
Here.
So that's what those funds are. That one in the marina has been there since I've been there and probably been there a long time. We don't utilize it because it's not a lot of money, and we probably ought to utilize it. We ought to start putting money in to it eventually when we can afford to do marina improvements. Yeah, I mean, we ought to have, I know Mr. Enright was here today talking to Bernie on the marina. We had needed to develop, just like I had presented to the governance, or the building, facilities and development committee, like a 5-year plan that we can, go forward on certain things and plan it and budget it. The marina probably will need the exact same thing. And
Well,
so-
the only reason I ask is because the depreciation always changes from year to year.
Because the asset of the marina changes.
Okay, okay. But that one, the equipment will probably remain the same now,
Yes.
unless we put more money into it.
Right.
Okay.
Those are the funds we should look very seriously, you should look very seriously on, when we get our final towards year end and budgeting on cash, to start looking at making that 5-year plan that I had discussed with Mr. Brown's committee, and then start looking at the marina and all these other things, and start developing a plan. And that 15,000 I know is in the audit report, and like I told the auditors, it's not enough to do a lot. We probably ought to have a game plan first, so that's what we need to talk about.
Right. And that was part of that meeting today, was to talk about this plan on that marina and what the needs are right now, so that we can hopefully double our revenue, that's coming in up there in a very short period of time. And I think it's looking real promising.
But the marina's a moneymaker. It needs to have the attention to keep it that way.
Right.
And Fran had a lot,
There's no basic competition in the air.
Fran had a lot of great ideas, I think we need to move forward on. And also Ken had one great idea that we are already moving on, that's gonna make that marina, I mean, I think,
Very desirable. I
yeah,
think,
desirable, and we're probably gonna double our revenue in 1 year.
Easily there. And really looking at that one piece of property that we had talked about not selling, and that is just such a perfect extension what Kenny was talking about, for that an RV area right there. And we would have 2 layers, and it just flows right into the marina. It was just perfect. And we discussed a travel lift over here, and we discussed a stacking system like you see in other areas, and we've located a spot today that we think is perfect for it, which won't infringe on any of our property that is so direly needed, and which I hope we can have a planning meeting and we can talk about this and get this plan, at least get our 1 foot forward going on this plan.
We can call it, describe a contribution RV park.
As long as you get your spot, right?
There's another issue.
What's that?
There's another positive issue that goes along with this. There's an extensive advertising possibility with all the boating magazines that give advice to other boaters who are subscribing and who read it other places to go to and what you can expect to find. So if you have something worth writing about and a program that provides what boaters want, you can get free advertising just by having people write stories about it.
I think one of the other things we could consider doing too, as an offshoot of it, would be possibly, if we felt it would be not only economically feasible, but something to be a moneymaker, would be to have 5 or 10 boats to rent that would be able to handle fishing up and down the river. And, you know, tell them you can't go outside the breakwall or something like that.
You get a lot of opposition from the charter boaters, from the
Yeah.
people that are.
They
Yeah,
use
that's
our
true.
marina as our
That's true.
base of operation.
Come on, Elijah.
But
You make immediate enemies.
Now, we can do kayaks, and we can do
Yes.
things like that,
Yeah.
to be, and that was one of those ideas that I think that we probably, as we get up and running on, your RV idea, that probably would fit naturally in all this.
Kayaks would be,
Yeah.
they're very popular.
Oh, yeah, I mean, what if you come here with
Well,
an
we
RV,
might even
you wanna
be
fit,
able-
then you wanna, then maybe you're gonna bring your wife and your kids, and they wanna,
create some more businesses for fish captains. You know, maybe double the size,
Somebody
depending on
has
the.
kayaks at Harbor Nest. I can't remember her name. She's
and kayaks aren't that expensive to make an
No.
investment in for the marina.
No,
I mean, you,
people.
and you buy a half dozen, like at $250, $260 a piece. Nice ones, I mean, you'll probably,
Well, if you do that,
Well,
if
I'll
you
bring
go,
mine down.
if you go that way,
I love
get the
kayaks.
best quality ones you can get that have the highest safety,
Yep.
safety,
Well, we talked about the west side, and what is our footprint on that west side by Wright's Landing? We own some of that property up there, which if we, which would be a perfect place if we get in the kayak business, and we have the boat ramps, everything right there, and so I think just without taking a survey, but looking at our property that we own,
Yeah.
what we have and what's available to us, and so that when we're talking about these 5-year plans, we can just, you know, we can call on these things and see exactly what we have over there on the west side, and where that line is over by Buddy's place, and let's get some stakes in the ground, and let's, you know, let's claim it.
Well, let's-
Right in.
Let's vote on this motion. Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next motion is 0806-1803 to accept subsidiary financial reports, which is Exhibit C2. If everyone wants to take a look, and if there are any questions, please ask.
So moved.
Thank you, Terry. Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thanks, Frank.
I was gonna ask about the additional cost for Sharkey, but Bill explained it.
let me tell you this is.
You beat me to it.
Yeah, while he was on site, we already had rental, we fixed 3 major issues we had in the east dock that caused nothing but problems for us, and safety and health hazards. We got rid of one fire hydrant that was just unbelievably, it was leaking water and creating a hazard, and we had 2 valves and drain, and at each dock that has not been touched in 40 years that we got rid of, so that was a really inexpensive price, just to get rid of some 4 really big problems.
Bill, this one thing that kind of jumped out at me, I wondered if this was an annual expense. Where am I here? Just a second. Northeast Petroleum Technologies,
Northeast
hook up
Petroleum,
for fuel pumps. Is
Yeah,
that
that-
an annual expense?
no, that was repairs.
Okay.
We have fuel,
Yeah.
diesel and gas down there. As you know, when we redid the gas dock, which
Yeah.
is probably the jewel of the marina right now,
Okay,
we had to redo everything.
okay.
And in that redoing everything, we started finding issues. And even today, I've had to sign another purchase order that we are now required to have these vents, probably Terry knows more about this than I do, or Fran, vents and pressure releases on it to be compliant with the current law. So that's gonna cost us $3,800. So as we created a new system, now we have to adhere to all the new rules.
Okay,
So,
that's good.
Any other questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. I do not have a report tonight. It's been kind of a quiet month and I've been away. Committee reports. No report from the executive committee. Audit and finance. I would say no report tonight. Governance, John, do you have anything?
And during the executive
Okay,
meeting,
Okay.
we can speak a bit. Yeah.
okay. Planning and development, Jerry, do you have anything this month?
No,
Well,
let's wait for executive.
Although we went over a 5-year plan,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
facilities, we tagged down more facilities that we need to look at.
Good.
And in the committee, I'm gonna provide a real accurate list of costs,
Okay,
which will,
good.
and then have another meeting along with, for the marina and a couple other things. And hopefully in about, not this next week, the week after, have a meeting.
Okay,
Great, sounds good.
so
Attorney's report, Michael?
nothing for the regular lot in the executive.
Old business? None that I'm aware of. Any new business?
When would be a good chance to discuss anything that has to do with those contracts that we were reviewing? Would that be executive?
Because we're ongoing negotiations.
Okay, we'll talk about it then.
Does anyone else have anything?
New business, it just, I passed out something to everybody, for- it just came out. The ethics review, it doesn't have much to do with us, a couple of people to whom it might apply. But that was the ethics review, and if you're interested in reading it, you have a copy of it. Beyond that, that's all I have to say about any ethics committee stuff. I was going to make a comment, because I don't think anybody knows it quite yet. The economic report has come out, and it's available. I had Patty create did everybody get it on email?
I sent an email to everybody, yeah. Ours hasn't come out, our individual hasn't come out
Okay,
yet.
all right, I want to see that. Anyway, economic impacts of maritime shipping in the Great Lakes St. Lawrence region, executive summary. It's filled with really good information, and that's it, you can get that right off your computer.
Okay, thanks, Jerry.
Worth reading.
And as I said, we'll have our own individual one as soon as that's out. I'll talk to you, I'll distribute it, and then we're gonna have some press on it.
Okay,
Because Oswego was very lucky to have support here because we generate a huge revenue and employment for our community.
yes.
Yes. That needs to be made widely available.
I'll personally deliver it to all the press myself.
Motion 0806-18 is to move to executive session to discuss contract negotiations, personnel grievances, and I'm going to add litigation.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We're in executive session. Motion to resume regular session.
So move.
Carried. Carried. All in favor?
Aye.
We are in regular session. We have no motions as a result of our executive session, so I need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Jerry, you want to get on there?
All in favor?
Who was second?
Aye.
Okay.
I
Somebody's got,
Oh,
the motion to
everybody get
adjourn
over
had to be you.
got